Hey guys, this is Nikki and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to talk about some ways that people tortured each other in the past, and I don't recommend it for some people that get scared too fast or they don't like to hear these things, so don't watch this video until the end because it's really disgusting. Okay, the first way that people tortured each other was called the breaking will, and it was invented in the 15th century until 14th century. People used it until 14th century, just imagine. Okay, and it was mostly used in ancient Greek. And actually, the way that people tortured each other with this wheel, and actually it was a really huge wheel. It was like a wagon wheel, and they would make people stick to the wheel. And the way that they made the people to get stuck to the wheel was they put some nails in their hands that then they could get stuck to the wheel, and then yes, and they would spin the wheel so the person that was stuck on the wheel would get spun, and then they would throw some things at them, and that is so disgusting and so painful. And it gets worse, guys. Even sometimes they would set the wheel on fire and the person was stuck on the wheel, so he couldn't do anything about it and he would burn slowly. That is so bad. Okay, the next way that they tortured each other was called the head crusher. And as the name says, they would squeeze the head until it popped, like Huggy Wuggy pops people, but this one, it pops your head. And well, you may think it's not as bad as the first one, I mean the breaking wheel, but it is worse for me, I think, because it was a kind of machine that people put the person in that machine, and something would close on their head, so it would squeeze their head, and before they die and their head crash, it would, for example, their eyes would pop out, their jaws would pop out, because they don't have enough space to be in their head. And then when the head was completely squeezed, the brain would come out because it doesn't have any space to be in. I guess that, I mean, not guess, I'm sure that was so painful. And this was used in, again, 5th century to 15th century. I don't know how the people could torture each other like that. It's so bad. And the next one is called excoriation, that it was 883 years before the Jesus birth. And they would spill some hot oil in a dinner pail or in a bowl, in a big bowl. Then they would put the person in the bowl, and he would die in front of their eyes. And you know, hot oil is so hot, and mostly we use it to cook something, and they cook the person with that kind of torture. Ugh. And the worst part is that people would come and watch, and they would even cheer for the person, like they would enjoy seeing the person in pain. I don't understand the people that lived in the past. I truly don't understand them. The next way that they used to torture people in the past was called impalement, and they used a sharp square, and they would repel the square in a human being, and they would do something that the person wouldn't die immediately, and it would really be a torture for that person. And even someone could survive for 8 days. Just think that there's a sharp scar in your body, and you're still alive, and for 8 days. And that is so painful. And it's so hard to talk about these things. The next way was called the death saw, and people say that they don't know when this kind of way to torture people got invented, but some people say that it was invented in 13th century, and some people say that it was invented when the saw was invented, and so some people weren't worthy enough to have saws, and they would kill each other with it. And it is a kind of torture, but still some people do this. And so, but they use a special way to torture each other with saw, and they would hang some people, and they would cut the person with the saw. But actually they hung them for example 1 hour, so their blood in their body would go in their brain, so when they're cutting they wouldn't die because of their blood. And it would take a lot of time until they get to the head and in the brain, so it is a really bad torture. The next way was called the brazen bowl, and it was invented in 15th century, and it was a bronze cow actually, and they made something, a kind of statue of a cow, but it was from bronze, and they would put the people in the cow, and then they would set the cow on fire so the person would burn inside it. And they put some pipes in the cow, so when the person is screaming for help, the voice of a cow would come out. And yes, and one day a person called Porylus from Athens wanted to buy this cow, and he asked the inventor to go inside the cow, and he said that he wanted to see if the cow really works and if he really makes that sound. But he set the cow on fire, so the inventor died with his own invention. Yes, and I'm really proud of Porylus because I really think that the inventor who invented this cow, his heart was from stone. People died because of your invention, man. And that are the ways that people use to torture each other, and I really don't understand why people try to torture each other like this. And yes, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a big thumbs up, share it with your family and friends, ring the bell, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye. And don't forget to subscribe. Sorry guys, I was just thinking about all these ways that people use to torture each other, and I totally forgot to subscribe. And subscribe please, and don't worry, my other videos aren't going to be like this, don't worry. Oh, bye.